Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in again. So, this is gonna be an interesting last quarter of the year, to say the least, because I guess a lot of circumstances in my life are gonna be new. And it is good news. It is good news, don't get me wrong. And it is very exciting stuff. But when you're faced with an amount of change like this, which can seem so daunting at a first impression, well, it just begs the question, how do you tackle such sizable changes in your life in a sane way, in a way that allows you to make the most of it? And thinking about all of that, thinking about all of the changes that I'm gonna have in my life, I remember some of the best advice that I heard ever. And that advice is that it is good most of times, or sometimes, I guess you could say, but I will say every time, it's always good. But it is good to be the kind of person that's willing to become a beginner again. And what I mean about that is literally not literally becoming a beginner at things, but rather it is good in life to be the kind of person who's willing to plunge themselves into change in such a way that you're going to have to learn to adapt again. You're going to have to do a lot of things from scratch. You're going to have to restart some things. And the reason why I think this is good to become a beginner again is because today's lifestyle sometimes it is just so easy. There's so many people that are living such an easy life. Everything is always easy, everything is always simple, everything is always already solved. And that's the goal for a lot of people. And if you identify with that, more power to you. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Just trying to pick up a certain job, just the easiest job that you can have, just work at it until it becomes simple enough that you don't even waste time in it, and just dedicate to leisure, and that's fine. But something that I wanted to echo is that sometimes it is good to plunge into change. Again, that's the advice that I heard. You should be willing to become a beginner to become a beginner again sometimes. And that can mean many things. You have to be willing to switch jobs, to switch your career, even for some people. You have to be willing to change the tools and resources that you change with all over again, to learn all over again, to learn technique all over again. You have to be willing to change the place where you live or the people that you're with. Like, for example, if you're in a certain group of friends and you don't feel fine in that group, it is perfectly valid to move on. And I think that that's actually natural. Life used to be that way. People used to do that. But now, in an era where everybody's always connected and where you're always expected to be in touch and all that, sometimes people sort of don't allow for that too much. But anyway, becoming a beginner again. If you do that, I think that you stretch your mind and body's capabilities beyond their current limits. And it is, of course, a very painful process, and I know as much. But I think that if you're the kind of person who's willing to do that, just to plunge yourself into something completely new and completely unexpected, maybe picking up a new daunting skill, public speaking, or working on a different context, different career again, like all of that. If you're the kind of person who's willing to do that, no matter the fact that it's a lot of effort, which it is, again, it will stimulate parts of your mind that you need to adapt and overcome that you wouldn't otherwise, that you wouldn't if you always stayed the same, if you always stayed living the same life for a very long period of time. I think that in many ways, change is natural to life. Constant change is natural to life. So we should embrace it. even though the culture that we're currently immersed in sometimes doesn't really allow for it. But thinking about that, I can sort of relate it to the circumstances that I'm currently undergoing in life. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because, again, if you remember, I've spoken about what it feels to, to be determined, what it feels to withstand chaos and to withstand circumstances where things are gonna be complicated because of a context change. And you know my philosophy about it. You know what's my attitude about it. But if you embrace this piece of advice, which I think it's actually taken me places. I think that it's taken me places. Has it been a painful process? You be the judge of that. But I think that I've always, no matter what's always happened, I've always come out a better person on the other end. And I think that I would like you to reflect on this too. Maybe it is time for you to pick up something new and exciting, something which you've always wanted to do, but you haven't quite been able to muster the energy for. Maybe you've always wanted to pick up art or painting, or maybe you want to set up a workshop. Maybe you want to get fit or to pick up, I don't know, some kind of discipline, capoeira or boxing or whichever random thing, something that inspires you, right? And maybe you've always been on the fence about it because it is too much change, it is too much effort. You know what? Well, things are effort, and you're gonna start at it and you're gonna suck for a while. But you know what? But I urge you to pick that up and just to do it like that, on a lighting, as if a lighting struck. Because again, I've been through that a lot of times, and it's been quite a process. But I've always come out a better person on the other end. I've always come out a better person on the other end. And personally, I think that in times of turmoil, like the times that we're in, those are the times where most people actually get intimidated about change, intimidated about what's going on in the world. And what I actually think is that those are the best times to actually do something daring. Because when things are in chaos, you can actually gain the most leverage from it. For example, the fact that there's a lot of protests and, things going on in the city, I think that means that, well, a lot of things are going to suffer, a lot of things are going to get destroyed. But that means that once the chaos is over, somebody's is gonna be needed there in a position of authority to rebuild and reconstruct and direct. And if you withstand the chaos, you're gonna be able to be that person. Whereas more people would just recoil back into their safe spaces because, understandably, there's a lot of chaos. And again, maybe if you just want to take things slowly and all that, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. But I think that this is the right time for all those kinds of cases. So I hope that you're staying safe wherever you are. And yep, that's all that I had to say today. Remember, there is value on knowing that it is good to become a beginner again sometimes. So thanks so much. I will see you later. I will see you soon.